It's 20 years since we won the Super Bowl, and me and Charlie are really leaning into that this year because we're going to celebrate that versus the Colts in November. You unfortunately weren't a part of that squad, but you came the next year in 2006. You came to a Super Bowl winning team from Hofstra, which not the power of houses, but still.
Ha!
No, you came over to
It was a
Pittsburgh.
powerhouse in D1 AA, Trey.
There you
We
go.
weren't in the Big Ten. D1 AA, we kicked
Look,
a
I
lot
came
of
from
ass.
Northwestern. I can't throw stones, okay? So, but you came to a Super Bowl winning team as a rookie. Tell me how was that for you?
I tell this a lot. I was spoiled because when I got to the team, you guys were still partying, right? Like you guys. And so even though I hadn't done shit, I haven't won, I didn't win it. Oh, I'm sorry if I can't curse on here. I haven't.
No, it's all good, brother.
I didn't do anything. Like I was very much a rookie, but you guys were still very much in like celebration mode, right? Like I remember hanging out with Max and I remember hanging out with you guys, Trai for Christ's sakes. And you guys were still getting the general's welcome. So I really rode those coattails, you know what I mean? So getting into the clubs for free, drinking for free, even the notoriety, I didn't think anybody knew who the hell I was, and I was still getting the love. So I was spoiled in that regard. I think I was also spoiled because we had Russ Grimm
right
as an offensive line coach, and Russ was very much somebody I think because we kind of the same body size, taught me how to play how to deal with life on the edge and how to play at this level with my size, right? Because a lot of the typical tackles were 6'5", 6'6". And it's so interesting from a ball player standpoint, like, this generation of edge rushers and D tackles, they're all 6 feet, 6'1", edge speed guys.
Mm-hmm.
The life I had to live in, and Trey, you obviously, and Charlie, the Vonnie Hollidays of the world, the Trevor Prices, the Jason Taylors, those guys are all 6'5", 6'6". You know what I mean? They weren't small human beings.
Right.
So I had to get acclimated very fast. But I think overall the culture that I was birthed into, and I say this a lot when I talk about my career, I was birthed into a very mature and like alpha culture. Half my locker room, for me, you, Chemo, and Max, we were like young 20s, right?
Right.
But Marvell, Jeff, and Kendall, they were like late 20s going into their 30s.
Red, yeah.
Red. So when I was talking about, when we would have these conversations about margarita mamas and all this other nonsense, they would kind of give me the side eye like, shut up. Like get out of here, young fella. Like, we don't care about who you bagged and what you was doing. We got football games to win. And so, the second year when I got the nod to start, it forced me to grow up fast as far as my conversation. Now, I was extremely privileged to have you. I was extremely privileged to have Max, because you guys were not only like my big brothers, you guys also were immersed on what the Steelers was about. So I was really just drinking everything you guys knew and was privy to prior to me getting there. So even when Chuck was around, man, I remember a lot of those inter locker room conversations about what the league was about and how to be a professional. I think one thing that happens in Pittsburgh when you get drafted there, there's a sense that because the team made it, you made it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you get humbled in training camp.
Oh,
and
real
so
quick in a hurry.
It's right. So, my first one-on-one, God rest his soul, was against Clark Higgins. I got in a fight. You know what I mean? And then I remember feeling like, all right, like even though the Steelers had won the Super Bowl, and I remember Charlie and all you guys walking up the field and everybody's like, ha, 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 and all that shit. And then also really like, man, like I want to make the team, right? Like these guys have made it, but I haven't made it. So I was fortunate, like I said, I had the covering of you, meaning Trey and Max and Chemo. But at the same time, I wanted to drink from the same cup you guys drank. So that was a large part of my motivation early in my career.
And I know talking about, last week we went through everybody, there was a cut day that happened. You obviously was drafted in the fourth round. In your mind, you were still trying to go out there and prove yourself. As you went through that whole training camp, at what point did you realize, well, number one, I can make it at this level, and ultimately realizing that you belonged on this team?
Man, so I think I told the story in training camp. I was sitting down with Ike and I was telling him, so remember Marvin Phillips was our center.
Marv, yeah.
Marv was great. Me and Marv was roommates. And we became close. And we played in Arizona. Maybe that's when Arizona opened the dome. They was really proud of their Bermuda grass. Like nobody gave a shit, right? And so I remember we had the power play and we would call cat on the backside.
Yeah.
Right. That play where I would
Right.
have to step in to get out. So I remember in the game, and this is so fun. Deuce Staley was at running back, and I remember being on the line. I'm calling. I call Cat for Marv to come back. Anyway, I do my thing, do my slam hinge, try to get back, and Deuce gets blown up, and I mean gets blown up, right? And then we run to the sideline, and Russ is like, what the hell happened on that play? I was like, well, I called Cat, right? And Marv, I'm looking at him like, looking for the confirmation from him to say I called Cat so Russ can get off my ass. And I looked down the bench and he hit me one of these. And I was like, I'm by myself. There's no loyalty.
Oh, remember that vividly.
There's no loyalty. And Russ is, beating me up. But it was like things like that kind of helped me realize, like, dog, you got to be responsible for yourself and you got to learn the game. You got to learn fast because even though you have this one opportunity, there will be more opportunities. We have to prove myself. And as that preseason went along, I remember I had to go from right tackle to left tackle against Minnesota. And I think there was Trai, you can help me. His name was Edwards. He was a defensive end.
Ray.
Ray Edwards, right.
Ray Edwards.
He looked like, he's all muscled up, all jacked up. Mm-hmm. And I remember having nerves about that. And Russ was like, listen, we know you can play right tackle. We know you're physical enough. We know you have the talent. But if I got to throw you on that left tackle, what does that look like? We need to know. You need to put that on film. Mm-hmm. And so I remember going into that preseason game and like really nervous because, I'm switching from right to left, but it's a whole different world from a perspective side and footwork and mechanics. And I was able to hold my own. And I remember Russ coming up to me being like, in this league, you just can't play one position. I can't have you just play one position. You need to know more than what you're comfortable at. And so from out the gate, it was my perception like comfort can't be your ally. You have to do more and you have to expand your brain. You have to expand your reality and you have to be more of an asset from this team than just being a right tackle. So once I was presented with that, now it was like, all right, how am I going to survive? How am I going to learn? How am I going to be ready when it's time for me to go? So I think for a lot of guys who are, went through training camp, whatever your true position is or whatever your niche is, that's not enough. You have to be able to do more from a physical standpoint, an intellectual standpoint. And I think for me, being able from that first game in Arizona, feeling like I was on my job and then getting Judas on the sideline to that Minnesota game where I was forced to be at left tackle, it just shows you that, this game is all about your range. It's all about range. So that's what I took from that training camp my rookie year.